Homely as a mule and useful as a pair of shoes. Between 1908 and 1927, over 16 million customers worldwide agreed with Henry Ford's description of the Model T Ford. Simplicity was the key to the Model T's legendary success. Simplicity in design and simplicity in manufacture. Ford achieved both on a single site at Highland Park in Detroit. The car could then be built to that same design at factories in each major car market around the world. Ford quickly became a global company, and the Model T the first global car. Since the days of the Model T, the auto industry has grown much more complex and customer expectations more sophisticated.
People's expectations are much, much higher. And we can't simply mass produce a car in North America and dump it in Europe or vice versa and hope that it'll be successful.
For nearly 50 years, car markets diverged along national or regional lines, and Ford developed accordingly. But as customer and legal requirements worldwide began to come together, the benefits of developing a modern, global car became clear.
A global car to us is a car that is designed in one place, capable of being manufactured in many locations to satisfy varying consumer requirements in those different locations.
If we could keep the commonality between the programs for Europe and the programs for North America, we could take advantage of the economies of scale, buy material more cheaply, buy tooling more cheaply, and that the savings we made, we could reinvest in the product so that we would be more competitive in both marketplaces.
Ford came close to producing a modern world car with the 1981 Escort.
During the past 4 years, Ford Motor Company has marshaled its worldwide design and engineering expertise to develop an exciting all-new car. Because it is the result of the knowledge, experience, and hard work of Ford people all over the globe, we also call it Ford's World Car.
In the early 80s, the Escort was an attempt at a world vehicle. And looking back on it now, we did some things right and many things wrong. With that program, it was a very good product, but if you had to rate it as a global product, it didn't rate very well.
When it came to the program execution phase, it was decided that the North Americans would do their program and the Europeans would do their program separately. When you have two engineering teams, inevitable happens. Each team thinks it's got a better idea, and the program drifted apart. So by the time we reached job one, the Escort program was really common only in name.
By the mid-80s, Ford needed to replace its CD sector cars in both Europe and North America. With similar customers, legislation, and volume requirements in each market, a decision was made. Ford would build a CD car for the world.
The corporation, in the case of the Escort, assigned the responsibility ambiguously to two regionally based product development centers. On the CDW, they didn't do that. They assigned responsibility to one product engineering, product development center, and that made all the difference in the world.
Ford of Europe took the lead responsibility for the CDW27 program. But as a world car, Ford intended to make use of its engineering strengths across the globe.
You can't divide the engineering between two locations. So Europe became the sole authoritative engineering source for CDW27. Having said that, however, we were able to take advantage of some areas of expertise that existed in North America, but still under the control of the European home base.
For example, CDW27 would boast an enviable range of powertrains, made possible only by pooling Ford's global expertise. From Europe came four-cylinder Z-Tech engines, diesel engines and manual transmissions. From North America, automatic transmissions and the top-of-the-range V6 engine from Cleveland, Ohio.
Having a single engine support all of our worldwide requirements coming out of Cleveland will help us to deliver some enormous economies of scale, which would make some features available on this engine that could have never been available had we been doing it on a regional type of arrangement.
We were able to build into the program various features and functions that probably would not have been possible for a standalone European or North American car. And in the end, the customer simply got more value for his money, more product.
Since the 81 Escort program, new technologies have been put into place, linking Ford's engineering teams around the world. WERS, the Worldwide Engineering Releasing System, meant that vital information on the 60,000 parts that make up CDW27 was instantly and accurately available.
What WERS essentially does is to capture every piece of data about every part in the Ford world in one easily accessible database. No paper at all was sent for release on the CDW27. Everything was electronically handled.
With electronic mail, Ford's global engineers were in contact 24 hours a day, and video conferences allowed regular engineering discussions throughout CDW27's development. Mere distance was no longer a barrier.
Very often we have four-way communications. Very often we are here 6 o'clock in the morning communicating on the same video meeting with Germany, England, Dearborn and here in Kansas City.
Without a good network linking people worldwide, without being able to share designs very quickly across different countries with different people, and without the WERS system to ensure that engineering releases were communicated quickly, I think it would have been impossible to design a world car.
It was no longer a national program or a regional program. In other words, it was no longer a British or a German or an American program. It was a global program.
Henry Ford's original global vision was being adapted for the 21st century.
If we were going to go for a global program with combined volumes of nearly 750,000 cars a year, then we had to make damn sure that we got a very competitive product.
The key design objectives were quite simple and very fundamental. We wanted to be best in class, we wanted to be leader in all world markets, and we felt that we could only achieve that by improving the functionality of the vehicle.
For CDW27, Ford undertook an extensive analysis of customer requirements across the world, including a technique called expanded image research. Consumers worldwide were asked to rate the toughest competitors by listing their likes and dislikes for 700 individual elements, from headlamps to heater controls.
These subtle little things that you really don't stop and think about, the customer tells you about, you build into the program, you build in to the engineering sign-off process to ensure that you've actually responded to these individual concerns.
Translating what the customer really wants into actual designs was a truly international effort. Design studies were submitted by studios in Dearborn, California, Cologne, and Turin, with the Cologne model becoming the building block for the final design.
We then put a team together of people from all over the world And this global team made it possible for us to develop a car now which is successful in all its different markets.
The final design combined flair with functionality.
We were able to develop a new car with new components, a new drivetrain, within the same overall dimensions as the predecessor, yet offering more interior space and better protection for the occupants.
Computer-aided design, engineering, and manufacturing allowed engineers to work faster and more accurately than ever before. CAD/CAM tools were used to design about 90% of parts for CDW27.
It is real 3D data. It is very accurate information. We can look at the information in any view that we require. A typical CAD file contains a 3D model, wireframe and surface data, and also the latest change. It gives me an XYZ location up to 6 decimal places of a millimetre. As you can see, the accuracy is beyond question.
CAE, or computer-aided engineering, gives great advantages to our engineers because they can evaluate a design in the computer rather than needing to build a physical prototype and having it tested.
Safety was a top priority for CDW27, and CAE was vital in crash analysis. Without needing a physical model, a side impact could be simulated to test the effect on the vehicle chassis and restraint systems for the occupant.
All this means we can reduce our time to market and reduce cost and improve quality.
CDW27 would be manufactured for the world at 3 sites in Europe, North America, and Mexico. To minimize retooling and sourcing costs, Genk imported was the sole European assembly plant. However, for CDW27, Genk was far more than that. It was also the location for the development of the vehicle, a full 16 months before production began.
British happiness is quite different from happiness around the world because we process happiness in a different way in Britain. You know, American friends I've met, Australians, they're much more in the moment. Oh yeah, they're in tonight. Woo! They're much more upbeat, much more positive. I say to my Australian friends, how are you? Awesome. Awesome. I mean, genuinely, in a non-ironic way. How are you, mate? Awesome. How was yesterday? Awesome, mate. Today's going to be awesome. What are you doing tomorrow? I don't know, picking up stones in the rain. It's going to be awesome.
Set up a business company and fully empowered, able to take
We never
all the
say that in a
decisions
non-ironic way. In Britain, the best you're going to get, because
wholly
our
on
happiness is based on this premise. Things could have been a lot worse, right?
Within 3 days.
That's as good as it gets in Britain. That's why the standard greeting in Britain, how are you? Not too bad. That's as good as it gets in old Blighty. Not too bad. Things are clearly bad, but they're not quite as bad as we thought they were going to be. We've dialed down our expectation to an acceptable level of disappointment. We're eking out our expectation in diminishing increments of reduced joy. Things are not too bad. There's the abyss. We're not in the abyss. We're in the car park and snack area, adjacent to the abyss. It's not too bad.
When it came to testing the prototypes, Ford's European
It's a meme.
proving
It
ground
carries on from
model
generation to
was just
generation.
40
My
minutes
father
away.
recently found a
And new
cache of
assembly
letters
lines
from
offer
his
greater
father
flexibility
writing
in
in
the
the
production
trenches of
process.
northern France in 1918. And he writes this hopeful letter to his family, presumably under mortar fire and machine gun attack. And it says, we've got a candle, the medical orderly got quite a nice tenor voice. Things are not too bad. Not too bad? It's the First World War. It's the greatest carnage the world has ever seen. Not too bad. You know, that is the ludicrous optimism of the British psyche. In Britain, we have the highest per capita ownership of convertible cars in Europe. That is preposterous optimism. Right there. When you see a couple with the top down in July, their faces contorted in a rictus of optimism as the horizontal hail drills into their retinas. It's clearing up, it's clearing up. And not too bad. That's just like a It's a kind of a daily greeting, you know. Somebody goes out in the week, oh, how was last night? Oh, not too bad. Oh, how was the night out? Oh, not too bad. But if you haven't seen someone in a while, you get a little bit more. You get a little bit, you get a bit extra. You say, why, I haven't seen you in ages. How are you? Not too bad, all things considered. And when people say that to me, I want to say to them, you have considered all things. Uluru, the Okavango Delta, the cradle of all life, the Alps, the genius of Mozart, the limpid minimalism of Arvo Part, the unplayable piano music of Franz Liszt, whose giant manatee-like flipper hands means that if you're not a circus freak or a yeti, you can't actually play the bloody stuff. The tectonic plates inching around the planet, mocking our brief dance on the surface, those yogurts with a bit of fruit in the corner, all human artistic endeavour, everything that has ever existed at a molecular level, pushing someone in a pond when they least expect it, sitting around the house in your pants, eating gluten for a laugh. Wars, religion, ideology, a rose, opening up a new jar of instant coffee with the back end of a teaspoon, the sensation of that! The baffling longevity of LinkedIn. Standing on the Rialto Bridge at midnight, covered in Marmite, naked, chucking wine gums at tourists, shouting, I forgive you! The uncountable stars, the boundless universe beyond which our imagination found us on a...
Extra mile care.
Having triumphed in Europe, CDW27 took on the world. The North American versions of the car, the Ford Contour and Mercury Mystique, were launched in Kansas City the following year, aided by team members from Genk.
CDW27 plan for Kansas City is a much faster ramp-up from the standpoint that we have in vast body of knowledge for all the components that use to slow up the car.
There's a hidden gem in Guangzhou, China. During the day it seems just like any other place, but at 2:00 a.m. it transforms into a bustling market filled with stalls of all sizes. The most famous treasures here, watches. Now, these aren't just any watches, sir. They're categorized by graded versions based on their movements. The watch I'm holding, it's the top version, equipped with a Swiss movement, and it costs only a few $100s. In terms of appearance and craftsmanship, you'd be hard-pressed to find any difference from the watches you see at high-end counters. And guess what? The waterproofness, timekeeping, and accuracy, comparable to the originals. So if you're a watch collector, this place is like paradise. There's a hidden gem in Guangzhou, China.
From Kansas City, engineers moved on to launch the car at the final assembly plant in Tacubaya, Mexico. Between them, the three plants could build 800,000 cars a year. Ford's global car was designed to compete in more markets worldwide than any previous Ford, including new markets like Argentina, Brazil, and
equivalent Japanese vehicles in there are not. So it's really giving the Japanese some of their own medicine back.
It's the biggest project of its kind. Ford Motor Company creating a car for the world. Our best designers and engineers from around the world have created world-class features in a more affordable class.
I don't believe.
Have you ever wanted to buy a Harrier jump jet? Well, now is your opportunity. This Sea Harrier is being sold by Jet Art Aviation. It's in excellent condition and has just 2 careful owners since new. The first being the Royal Navy. It includes full logs such as the aircraft's F700, and it was delivered to the Navy in 1996. It was last flown in 2005 and only has 1,558 hours on the airframe. Its fatigue index on the fuselage is 15.6 and on the wings it's 21. It served with 801 Naval Air Squadron and was regularly flown from aircraft carriers such as HMS Illustrious. It's fitted with the famous Rolls-Royce Pegasus Mark 106 engine and has always been hangared. It's electrically and hydraulically live and is a decommissioned ex-military aircraft with all weapons, systems and radar removed. It's a rare opportunity and is being sold as a vintage warbird or investment portfolio piece. You can find full details in the link below. Have you ever wanted to buy a Harrier jump jet?
To talk to each other on a technical basis across the Atlantic, and in terms of the capability of marketing the product and servicing the product on a worldwide basis.
The structure of the company is based entirely upon that success.
Under Ford 2000, the company's regional organization will be replaced by a single global entity, eliminating the duplication of resources and unifying product development, manufacturing and marketing operations around the Ford world.
Effectively what you're doing is you're taking one of the biggest companies in the world and you're reinventing everything that it does. We're taking a clean sheet of paper and redesigning every single process, every way we do business.
The totally new Ford Contour, a world car for the 21st century.
The CDW27 program demonstrated that the Ford team could match any other team in the world when we put our heads down and really cooperate. And I think the T-model Ford and the Mondeo will share very similar places in history.
The one that I'm worried
will
about
become the benchmark.
intake manifold runner, bank one,
over the next
control
decade or
circuit
so.
open.
The world
No
auto
signal
business will look to
communication.
Ford as
Let's
the
have a look,
company
see what we can
that knows how to do things, the company that can.
Okay, so from initial inspection, this is the inlet manifold. You can see there's a runner here. This is the bank 2, and that's got a motor on the end of the runner just there. If you want to look over here, there's nothing on that one. I'm pretty sure that is it there. That little motor broken for the inlet manifold runners. Get one of those on order. Get the inlet manifold off. Make sure that nothing's stuck. We'll go from there.
A few moments later.
We've got a genuine 12-flap sensor. We're going to get this in, get it bolted up. Let's fingers crossed, man. Boom. That's that in. So we didn't get lucky putting that sensor on it. We're going to take the inlet manifold off and we're going to dive in and see what's wrong with it.